Hi, Todd. How are you?
Hi, Satya. It's great to see you.
Likewise. It's wonderful.
So, over the past few months, I've had the chance to interview Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer for Microsoft's 50th, and now you. So, thanks for helping me complete the Microsoft CEO trifecta.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's great.
So, Steve told me that Microsoft's strength came from its ability to democratize computing. And Bill said that intelligence is now effectively becoming free, much like computing did in the early days of the PC revolution. And you've said that the goal for Microsoft is not simply longevity, it's sustained relevance. Can you pick up the thread from there? As Microsoft reaches its 50th, how do you see the company's legacy evolving, and what does Microsoft need to do to keep earning its place in this world?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, one of the things, Todd, I always think about is our origin story, right? And it's obviously worth reflecting on it even more so this week. I think what's in our DNA that is sort of captured in the comments that I guess Steve and Bill made is, that very first product of ours, right? That basic interpreter for the Altair, I think says it all, which is what was it that was going through Paul and Bill's minds when they created that product? They said, oh my God, this microcomputer revolution is going to happen. We got to create software for it. The software industry will be born. But underneath all that, though, was creating technology so that others can create more technology. That was true in 75, and that is true in 25, and that will be true, I believe, in 2050, right? So that's, to me, technologies will come and go, but that idea that this company can stay relevant by producing technology so that more and more people around the world can create more digital technology that's pervasive in our society and both at an individual level and even at an organizational level, that I think is the core thread, for me at least, of Microsoft.
So in the early days of the PC, spreadsheets and word processors really opened the eyes of the industry and the public to the power of new technology. I think in the AI era, GitHub and ChatGPT, GitHub Copilot and ChatGPT may be doing something similar. Now we're seeing glimmers of potential in AI agents, but have we yet seen the applications that will truly define this new era? And if not, what will they be and when will they arrive?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I mean, I think to your point, we've had already a few of those moments, right? GitHub Copilot, for example, when I started seeing code completions, is when I started believing, right? I think it was sort of a precursor to even GPT-3.5. We had a model that was a derivative of that for coding that sort of first, we put into GitHub. And if I look at even the evolution of that product, right? So we had code completions. We went from code completion and said, hey, after GPT-4, we said, let's add chat so that you don't have to do this. We're taking the joy out of software programming, right? Where you were going out of band to get to all the knowledge sources. Whereas now you could just you can ask in the intelligence questions and get it right in the flow of your IDE and your software project. So we added chat. Then we said, okay, let's add multi-file edit, right? So that you can actually do chat plus edits, not one file at a time, but multiple files at the same time. We then added agents. So we now have essentially at the full repo level, I can go into agent mode and it changes the entire repo, and you can just, what people call vibe coding is like, it's all over the place. And now we have even a SWE agent, right? So we are going even from a pair programmer to a peer programmer. Right? That's the type of system. And by the way, it's just not happening in GitHub. It's happening even in M365 Copilot, right? With the researcher and data analyst, it's unbelievable, Todd. Like when I look at even this morning, I had 3 customer meetings. I went and just asked my researcher, please give me the brief, right? And the brief is just the most comprehensive brief some analyst would have written by looking at everything that's happening in the world on the web and all my internal sources of information, not just Office documents, my CRM database, my Office documents, and pulling it all together in a synthesized view, right? So I feel these are everyday use cases, right? So these are products I use all the time with high intensity. So I think, we're beginning to see the value, just like Excel and PowerPoint or Outlook did back in the day.
But you and Bill have both alluded separately to the need to reinvent the inbox with AI. You've talked about the agentic inbox. Bill's talked about it in a different way. Is that one of the opportunities that you see for Microsoft? Kind of like a new version of Outlook that really makes people more efficient?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is true that you kind of now, let's just say, posit the following, right, which is, for every one of us that is a knowledge worker, right, one of the things I think that one should make is the distinction between knowledge worker and knowledge work. Today, if somebody came from Mars and saw how I worked, they would think that I just type. That's my job. But like effectively, though, if you abstract that I do knowledge work, but my work itself now becomes more higher level, right? Semantically, if you will. So therefore, I have, let's say, thousands of agents that are doing a bunch of, like I have a researcher, I have an analyst, I have a coder. All of these things are doing things that I've instructed it to do. Even autonomously, sometimes I'm in the loop, sometimes I just instruct them to complete tasks, but they have to come back to me, right? For either notifications, further instructions, and coordination. And so therefore, I think the UI layer around AI is going to be still critical. That's kind of how we're building this co-pilot, whether it's for consumers or for business. And that, yes, does feel like a new type of inbox, where the coordination of the work agents do with us in the loop will require new type of organizing layers.
When we spoke in 2017 after the release of your book, Hit Refresh, I asked you to cite a line of poetry that you thought best described the future at that time. And you quoted a line from Vijay Seshadri's Imaginary Number, that the soul, like the square root of -1, is an impossibility that has its uses, which feels very quantum in retrospect. Is there a line of poetry that you would use in 2025 to encapsulate this moment, your feelings about Microsoft, the industry, or the future?
Yeah, no, that's right. I've been thinking about that because in some sense, at a time like this, right? I mean, if you look at even the conversation we just had, it was all about trying to envision what this future would look like, right? In 2026 and in 2050, right? I mean, at some level, like, we always want to live way far out, and then even what happens next year. And the Rilke line, which I've used in the past, which I love a lot, right? It's that I think it roughly captures something like, the future enters us and it transforms itself in us long before it becomes reality. I think is a beautiful thing for builders, right? Because you kind of have to live the future, but more importantly, give it real shape that you want, and then thereby make it reality. And I think that I think is probably the best builder line that I've ever heard.
Well, Satya Nadella, thank you very much. It's been great to catch up with you here briefly.
Likewise, Todd. Thank you so much.